Rain drummed against the windshield as the old yellow cab rolled through the dimly lit streets. Soft jazz played from the radio, filling the silence. Rusty, the cab driver, had been on the job for years, long enough to recognize the lost ones. Tonight, the kid sitting in his back seat looked lost. "Where to?" Rusty asked, adjusting the rearview mirror. The teenager, maybe 16, pulled his hoodie tighter over his head. "I don't know. Just drive, I guess." Rusty nodded and pulled away from the curb. He had seen this before. Kids with heavy hearts, running from something, or maybe running to something. They drove in silence. The city lights blurred and the raindrops streaking down the windows. Then Rusty spoke. "Rough night?" The kid exhaled sharply. "Rough life." Rusty didn't push. He just kept driving through streets he knew by heart. "You know," Rusty said after a moment, "I used to run too. Thought I had nowhere to go. But turns out running doesn't get you anywhere, it just makes you tired." The kid looked up. "Yeah, what changed?" Rusty tapped the worn steering wheel. "A cab ride just like this one. A driver once told me, you can't go back and fix the past, but you can choose where you go next." The boy frowned. "Sounds like something from a fortune cookie." Rusty chuckled. "Maybe, but it stuck with me." He glanced at the boy through the mirror. "You got somewhere safe to go?" The kid hesitated, then pulled out his phone, staring at the screen. Finally, he sighed. "Yeah, my mom's place. Haven't seen her in a while." Rusty nodded. "Tell me the address." The cab turned down a quiet street, the rain easing into a light drizzle. As they pulled up to a small house with a porch light flickering in the night, the kid hesitated. "You think people can really change?" he asked, gripping the door handle. Rusty met his gaze in the mirror. "I think people can choose to." The kid sat still for a moment, then nodded. He handed Rusty a crumpled bill and opened the door. Before stepping out, he paused. "Thanks," he murmured. Rusty just smiled. "Take care, kid." As the boy walked up the porch steps, the front door creaked open and a woman gasped. "Alex?" Then, just before the door closed behind them, Rusty saw it, the first hint of hope in the kid's eyes. With a quiet sigh, Rusty pulled away, disappearing into the night. The city had changed, but the streets were the same. Rusty still drove his cab, though these days he felt the years pressing on his shoulders. He wasn't sure how many more miles he had left in him, but he always figured there was someone else out there who needed a ride. One evening, as the sun dipped low over the skyline, a man flagged him down outside an office building. Dressed in a crisp button-up and dark jeans, he slid into the back seat with a tired sigh. "Where to?" Rusty asked, adjusting his mirror. The man smiled. "Wherever you think I should go." Rusty's hands froze on the wheel. It was the same voice, just older. He turned, looking closer. "Alex?" The young man grinned. "You remember?" Rusty let out a breathy chuckle. "Hard to forget a ride like that." Alex leaned forward, resting his arms on the back of the front seat. "I never got to tell you. That night, it changed everything." Rusty listened, his grip firm on the wheel. "I was at rock bottom," Alex admitted. "I had just burned every bridge I had. My dad had kicked me out, my friends weren't picking up, and I was about to make a decision that would have messed up my life. Then, you picked me up. And what you said about how people can choose to change, that stuck with me." Rusty nodded, waiting. Alex exhaled. "When I knocked on that door, I thought my mom wouldn't even let me in. But she did. And it wasn't easy, but we figured things out. I went back to school, got my act together. Now I work at a youth center, helping kids who feel like they've got nowhere to go." Rusty felt a warmth settle in his chest. He had taken thousands of people across the city, but this one mattered. Alex chuckled. "So, what do you think? Did I choose to change?" Rusty grinned. "You tell me." Alex laughed. "Yeah, I guess I did." For a while, they just sat there, the hum of the city filling the silence. Alex reached for his wallet. Rusty waved him off. "This one's on me." Alex hesitated. "Then let me do this." He pulled a small card from his pocket and set it on the dashboard. "If you ever want to stop driving, come by. We could use someone like you." Rusty picked up the card. Horizon Youth Center. He traced the letters with his thumb, then looked at Alex, who was watching him with the same hopeful eyes from all those years ago. "Maybe I will," Rusty said, tucking the card into his pocket. As Alex stepped out and disappeared into the crowd, Rusty sat for a moment, staring at the city that had given him so many passengers, so many stories. Then, with a small smile, he put the car in drive and pulled away. One last ride before the next chapter began.